Hey everyone, it's Pat from 5 Minute Cruise Tips. I just got off of Liberty of the Seas on a 5-night sailing from Cape Liberty to Bermuda. So I'll give you a review of the onboard experience, including a day-by-day account of the theme nights and the onboard activities. I'll keep this short, punchy, packed full of information, and as always, under 5 minutes. Now, Liberty of the Seas is a great ship in the Freedom class. Right now, they're running 4 and 5-night sailings to Bermuda and some longer sailings to Canada and the Caribbean. Now, let's start with the day-by-day. Day 1, embarkation from Cape Liberty. The bad. The parking was atrocious. The parking garage right next to the port building was full because of Symphony of the Seas, so we were pushed to an overflow lot, which was really far from the port building. So make sure to drop off all of your bags with the porters, and if you have heavy backpacks or carry-ons that you want to bring, leave them with a family member at the port building before you park your car. There was a QR code to pay for the parking, and it was a little confusing, but it was fine in the end. Another bad thing was once we got on board, the Windjammer was especially busy, which is normal, but it really took quite a while to find a table. Now, the good things about day 1 were once we got to the port building after we parked, it was very smooth and very easy, the security and the check-in process. Also on board, the main dining room location was fantastic. We had requested a 4-top for our family, and they gave us a table right next to the window, which was gorgeous. The wait staff were great, the service was fast, and the maitre d' did a great job with my food allergies. There really was no theme night for the first night. It was just an all-aboard welcome menu. Now for day 2, it was a sea day, formal night, or you could dress in your 70s, 80s, 90s attire. And the theme night in the menu in the dining room was French night. Now the great things about sea days are tons of activities, belly flop competition, trivia, dance classes, live music. We went to the ice show, which was fantastic. I can never really follow the theme of the ice show, but the skill level of those skaters is fantastic. One thing about day 2 that I really didn't care for was the Decades party. They had too much jammed in too tight. It felt like once you started enjoying a song, it was over and they were moving on to the next one. I really prefer the dedicated 70s dance party instead. Now, day 3, our first day in Bermuda, white night, Italian menu. We arrived in port an hour early, which was really nice. But the bad thing was later that night when a lot of people were off the ship, they actually had a lot of activities that are pretty popular. So unfortunately, I had to miss the Love and Marriage game show because I was on an excursion. So I thought the scheduling was a little weird around that. Next, day 4, this was our second day in Bermuda, and the theme was country and the menu was a taste of the USA. Good things were they had a lot of activities on board if you chose to stay on board for the second day in Bermuda, including some games I'd never seen before. And the Crazy Quest was that night, and it was the best one I'd ever been to. It's an adults-only scavenger hunt. The crowd was really into it. It was jam-packed, and the cruise director did a phenomenal job. Now, one thing I didn't care for about that day was, with it being country night, they had a hoedown party, which was a lot of fun, but no one knew the steps. They didn't have the country line dance class earlier that day like they normally would. They had it the next day after the country night, which didn't seem to make any sense. Next, day 5, a sea day. The theme night in the dining room and for attire was Caribbean night. Now, this was just an okay day. There were tons of activities happening throughout the ship, but it was kind of rainy. People were kind of mellow. People were going to their rooms to pack. One highlight was the live orchestra that played in the promenade and in the Star Lounge. They were phenomenal. Now, day 6 was disembarkation day, and it was actually very disorganized. They called groups 1 through 20 at the same time instead of staging them, and so there was a mad rush, and it took us a half hour of waiting in line just to get off the ship. After that, we had to then go get our luggage and schlep it the 400 yards to our car because we parked so far away. Now, some odds and ends of what I really loved about the onboard experience on the ship. The cruise director, Corey, and his entertainment staff were phenomenal. You might not always get him, but if you do, you're in for a treat. The other thing that was good was in the Windjammer, they had a really good variety of food for lunch and for dinner, including chicken tenders for the kids. Finally, the onboard music entertainment was great. 3 or 4 choices every single night, and our favorite was the orchestra. We didn't care too much for the schooner bar. It's usually one of our favorites, but there was a lot of smoke from the casino, and the piano player, although talented, was a little too show-tuney for us. Now, a couple of things I didn't love about the onboard experience. There were no hand-washing stations outside of the Windjammer, which is unusual for this class of ship, and they didn't have laser tag, even though they have a Studio B. Another thing I didn't love was the main dining room. The early fixed seating dining time was 5 o'clock on the dot. A little too early for my taste. I really like 5:15 or 5:30. That little bit of extra time really helps feel like you're not cutting into your day too early to start getting ready for dinner. Also, in the dining room, you should know that on these shorter sailings for 4 and 5-night cruises, they do not have a lobster night. Also, in the Sorrento's Pizza, it was actually hit or miss. My kids usually love it, but halfway through the cruise, they seemed to transition to some sort of a pre-made crust, which wasn't that great. So, would I cruise on Liberty again? Absolutely. They had so much to offer for the onboard experience, and the entertainment staff and the cruise director were top notch. I hope you've enjoyed this review of the onboard experience. Please stay tuned for another video about the good, the bad, and the ugly about Liberty of the Seas. Thanks for watching today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and check out these videos for more 5-minute cruise tips.